Welcome to art class with Mrs. Hoff. I'm so glad that each and every one of you are here today. This classroom is your art studio. And in this classroom, you are welcome here. You are safe and you are an artist. Together, we will do great things. I believe in you. We have so many exciting things to do today. I can't wait. So let's get started. Give me a big thumbs up if you are ready. Okay, next guys, we're gonna play a little game. And here's how it works. It's a silent game, so we're not going to talk. But I'm going to say something, and then if that's true for you, you're going to raise your hand. Not talking, just raise your hand. If it's not true for you, keep your hands quietly on your lap. All right, I'm gonna play too. So raise your hand if you love art. And now you can look around and see who else in the class likes art. Okay. Raise your hand if you're nervous about your first day today. Even teachers get nervous too. Raise your hand if you're new to our school. Raise your hand if you like pickles. Raise your hand if your favorite color is blue. Raise your hand if you like to paint. Raise your hand if you want to get better at drawing. I figure I can always get better. Raise your hand if you like to have fun. What are some other really important things you need to know for art class? I know. The first thing is that we have assigned seats. We're always going to start the day on the floor, sitting on your colored square. There are colored dots on the floor. Each one of these squares matches with your table color. So if you sit at the yellow table, you will also sit on a yellow square. You will have an assigned seat at the table. That means you always have to sit in the same seat when you're at your table. But when you come to the floor, you can pick one of the 4 squares, but it has to be a yellow square. Okay, so the dot you're sitting at right now is not your permanent spot. I'm going to give you your table in just a minute, and then once you find out your table, then you'll know your dot for next time. I have 2 special guest students that are going to show you how to come in and sit on your square. The first thing we do is use hand sanitizer right there. So come on in, class. Thanks for coming in so quietly. Grab a squirt of hand sanitizer, rub it in, and then go find your square. You're going to sit crisscross applesauce. Or there are 2 other choices for how you sit. Crisscross applesauce or mountain or mermaid. So that your bottom is on the floor in any of those choices. Please don't come in and lay down on the floor. Please don't stick your legs everywhere. This is not how we sit on the floor. Your choices are, again, crisscross applesauce, mountain, or mermaid. After you come into class and have a seat on your spot on the floor, then Mrs. Hoff will start class. So I might read a book, or I might show you a video, or tell you about a cool new artist, or introduce our awesome new art supplies for the day, and then you'll get a chance to go to your seat and make awesome art. Now hopefully, real Mrs. Hoff reminded you of her name. Wait, what's my name? Mrs. Hoff. There are 2 people you need to know. One is Mrs. Hoff. The other is that famous lady, Miss Mona Lisa. Now let's see if you remember Mona Lisa. When I say Mona, you say Lisa, and then you're going to become the Mona Lisa. All right, Mona, Lisa, sitting up tall, Hands on your lap, eyes on me. Good job. Now I want to tell you just a little bit more about me so you get to know me. So I'm Mrs. Hoff. Here I am. Let me tell you a little bit about my family. This is my family. Here we are at a waterfall, and here we are at another waterfall. That's Mr. Hoff. He teaches over at the middle school. And these are my daughters. Here we are on a jackalope. We like to do lots of silly adventures together. But this is Parker and Addison. You might see him around school. If you do, say hi. And here they are with a buffalo. He is not part of our family. But here's Parker with a bird, and this is the bird, Georgie, and he is part of our family. Here he is. You might have met him last year when he was a baby bird and I saved him. Now he's a big bird and he really just likes to sit on people's heads. That's what he does best. I like to do art. That's what I do best. And so I take my sketchbook wherever I go, and here we are at the waterfall. And so I not only took pictures, I also drew it in my sketchbook. Other things about me, I love rainbows. I love to play the piano. I like to ride dinosaurs, doesn't everybody? And I like to make stuff. I made this giant pencil that's in front of the school right now, and I like to grow things. I plant a garden every year. I always plant flowers and vegetables and all that stuff. Oh, and I like to be silly. Mostly, though, I like to make art with kids. It's pretty much my favorite thing to do. So I can't wait to make art with all of you guys here at school. And I also can't wait to get to know you better, to hear what you did this summer, and to get to know fun things about you. I want to know what you like to do. We are going to get to make tons of different kinds of awesome art this year. We're going to get to use clay. We'll get to do drawing and painting. We'll have lots of different art challenges. We'll do some printmaking, some weaving, all of the things that you love doing in art, we will hopefully get to do this year, and even some things you didn't even know you loved yet, we're going to get a chance to try out. All right, guys, let's find out what's going to happen next. We're going to get to go to our assigned seats and get some clay. So here's how that will work. I'll walk around with my clipboard and I'm going to call your name to the back of the room. When you hear your name called, come on over and I'll show you what seat you sit in. When you get to your table, you will find a bowl of clay that looks something like this, that matches the color of your table. And there will be a ball of clay for each person. You may start playing with it quietly while everyone else finishes watching the video. So let's talk about clay. Clay comes in lots of different types and forms. Sometimes we use Play-Doh. Sometimes we use earthenware clay. Today, we're going to be using something called modeling clay, and this is an oil-based clay. That means it never dries out. So if you try and make something out of this, like make a bowl or a pot or a vase, and let it dry, it's never going to dry. So it's not good for making things out of that you want to keep. It is good for practicing your clay skills. So that's what we're going to do today, is to practice our clay skills with this modeling clay. So you might think, Mrs. Hoff, if I'm working with clay, I'm going to need some tools, but when I try and cut this clay with tools, it doesn't work. It's so stiff and hard that, I broke my knife. All right, so you're not going to want to use any tools with this clay. What you are going to want to use are your natural tools, which are your fingers. So this clay is hard. You want to use the trick of just pinching off a little piece. If you just pinch off little pieces, then it's really easy to squish and smush and make into the things that you want to make. When it's in your hand, it gets a little bit warmer and a little bit softer, and you can make things with it. So we're going to use some different techniques today, because in art class, it's all about practicing new techniques with our materials. And then the easiest thing to do in your hand is to roll it around to get it soft, and it's much easier to work with when it's soft. So you can roll it into a ball and make a sphere. You can flatten down your sphere to make a pancake or a circle. You can roll it to make a long snake, and if you put it down on the table, you can roll it into an even longer snake. Of course, you can spiral your snake too. You can use your fingernails to add designs in there too. Experiment. See what you can do with just your fingers and some clay. All right, let's talk about what happens at the end of class today. When you're done playing with your clay today, you're going to roll it back up in a ball and put it back in the bowl. And then we're going to be wiping down tables, washing hands, and getting ready to go. And the last thing we need to do to get our tables ready to go is to use a wet wipe to wipe down our tables and to sanitize them. Just one person per table is going to use one wet wipe to wipe down the whole table. You can wipe down your friend's spots and your spot. Go all the way around the table. You can get the chairs too. And then when you're done, you're going to want to make sure you dispose of that correctly. So your wet wipe is going to go where? It's going to go, oh, nope, in the garbage can. Yeah, that's it. We only put paper in the recycling bin. So you can see some paper right there. That is in the right spot in that yellow paper bin. Yay. The other thing we need to do at the end of every class is to wash our hands. You can use any of the sinks in the back that are open. If you use this sink, here is your soap and your paper towels. If you use this sink on the end, here is your soap, and you can reach around to grab a paper towel right there. A couple things to remember when you're washing your hands. Please don't move the top of this. Wah, wah, wah. You just need to turn the water on part way. You don't need to turn it on full blast and splash water everywhere. When you get your soap, you just need one squirt of soap. Then you're going to want to scrub, get all that art supply off of there. Scrub the front and the back and between your fingers and get your hands nice and clean. Get all those germs off there. Then you're going to wash it off with just a reasonable amount of water. And when we're done, we're going to turn off the faucet. Make sure you don't leave the water running. We don't want to waste water. And you just need one paper towel. I know everybody thinks you need 2 or 3 or 4, but watch, I have big, old, giant adult hands. And look, one paper towel, there's still a little dry spot there. One paper towel is enough to dry my hands, and I even can wipe off the sink. I can get the extra things along the sink with my paper towel. I'll pick up any old paper towels that are sitting by the sink, making sure I leave everything nice and clean, picking up any little scraps or anything that's left in the sink, leaving my sink nice and pretty, and then my paper towel will, of course, go in the trash can. There it is right there in the middle of the area. Trash. After you wash your hands, go back and sit down at your table to be released to go. Make sure that everyone else at your table is sitting quietly so that you can be picked to line up. I will pick tables that are clean and quiet. Once I call your table, you can stand up. Be sure to push in that chair. Make sure it's pushed in all the way. Then you can quietly walk to the rainbow line.